Hello, all, and welcome to the newest episode of the Noobs and Knockouts podcast. I'm Austin. I'm a knockout. Watched a lot of wrestling.
I'm David. I'm a noob. I haven't watched a lot of wrestling, nor, I must confess, have I watched any Naked Gun movies.
Surely, David, you can't be serious.
I unfortunately am serious, dear podcast co-host and dear viewer.
You missed it. I laid it up for you.
Oh,
Do the don't call me Shirley gag.
No.
What a great start. I've been thinking about how to throw that in there for days, and then there it goes. Anyway, today's episode, we're going to be watching Sunday Night Slam from August 21st, 1994. We're back in the new generation era. And if you're wondering why the first minute of this podcast was like Leslie Nielsen jokes, the answer is because, to call back to our Undertaker versus Undertaker thing, you know, the mystery of the two Undertakers. And and WWF asked us who could possibly solve this mystery, and they found a man. Lieutenant Frank Drebin.
Oh my god.
Leslie Nielsen from the Naked Gun movies.
So, is it Leslie Nielsen or is it Lieutenant Frank Drebin?
They call him Frank Drebin.
Oh my god, of course they do.
Like, yeah, it's kind of weird. But it's,
you know, I haven't seen the episode yet, obviously. I already almost feel like it'd be funnier if it was just Leslie Nielsen, and he's like, "You guys know I'm not a real detective, right?" And they're like, it's fine."
That would actually be really funny, but no, they play it completely straight that like he's a real detective and he's going to solve this case.
Of course they do. It's the mid-90s and it's WWF. That combination of things does not yield nearly enough cleverness to do such a funny thing.
Which is funny because I watched The Naked Gun in preparation for this episode along with our usual preparations. So here's a brief history on The Naked Gun. So the Naked Gun movies are actually a kind of a spin-off of a canceled short-lived TV series, Police Squad. And so Police Squad was originally like an ABC comedy, same setup and everything, but it got canceled after 4 episodes. They ended up airing 2 extras. And this is the funniest reason I've ever heard for a show getting canceled. Is ABC felt that Police Squad required the viewers to pay too much attention. Basically, the idea is in Police Squad, it's not like a lot of, first of all, Police Squad, I should say, is a parody of police procedurals. And the joke is that Lieutenant Frank Drebin is a complete and utter idiot who only accidentally ever solves anything.
Shocker.
But anyway, ABC felt that like Police Squad wasn't a procedural. It wasn't like every episode was self-contained. They had linear plot elements across episodes, and like episodes plot like that, and as well as jokes, required the viewer to like pay attention to the show and remember what happened in prior episodes.
Wait, the show got canceled for being serialized?
Yes, the show got canceled for being serialized.
Can somebody please explain to me how
they felt that the viewers just, it would be better to have shows that don't require as much attention span on a weekly basis. I was like, this is the most poorly aged thing of 1982 television. This is too serialized. No one's gonna want to watch a comedy where the jokes carry over across episodes. Who would want to watch that?
I mean, to be fair, comedy serialization is a tough thing to do, as I have learned the hard way by other TV shows I watch attempting such a thing.
I mean, I agree, it is, but it's just so funny that like there are so many shows now, comedies now that have serialized humor that it's really funny that they were like in '82 they were like, nah, man, this is too serialized.
Well, and I imagine too, like, if they were saying the jokes also required you to pay too much attention, it was probably like almost like a Mel Brooksian style of comedy where like it was just joke after joke, and I wouldn't be surprised if the network is like, no, make it dumber.
I didn't watch any Police Squad, but that is also part of what they said it was. It was just, the jokes were too rapid fire, man.
Oh my god. Oh, that makes me so angry. Okay.
But anyway, they cancel the show, but they end up making a movie about the Naked Gun movies, and that were hugely successful of the same premise. And I watched the first one. It's hysterical. Some of the raunchy jokes weren't for me, but that's just, but I gotta say, the jokes about police stuff and like tropes of police squad work were amazing. There was a joke where he goes down to he's like talking to an informant to try to get him to say something. He does the thing where he's like, where the informant's like, I don't know if I know anything, and he pulls out a 20 and he's like, do you know something now? That kind of gag. But then, he does that. But then the informant's like, why do you want to know? And Drebin goes, I don't know if I want to say. And he pulls out the exact same 20 and gives it back to him. And they go back and forth with the 20 on like this.
That's good. Yeah, I've heard the first one is really, really good.
Yeah. This is technically a tie-in to the third one, in that the third one came out in March 1994. So, right on, really culturally relevant is this reference.
Oh, God.
But yeah, so that is the set is the reoccurring kind of the A plot of this special that we're going to be watching tonight. That is a special 2-hour episode.
Oh, fancy. Man, imagine when it used to be special when their episodes were 2 hours long. Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Pepperidge Farm remembers. But yeah, so the A plot, they filmed a bunch of skits of Leslie Nielsen doing detective stuff, looking to figure out the truth behind the two Undertakers situation.
Yeah, of course.
They aired some of these on TV, and I didn't even realize that this was the same skits until a couple of them in. Then I was like, I'm skipping these. I'm saving this.
Oh, God.
I don't want to know all the jokes before they.
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to be real bangers.
Yeah, they're not.
Yeah.
So I guess kind of the story. It's been about a month and a half of Monday Night Raw since we were last here. Great. So what has been going on is the Undertaker v. Undertaker plot. Not gone anywhere. Same spot as it was a month and a half ago.
Yeah, I was going to say, from the way you indicated to me last time we were here, it's a whole lot of nothing.
It is. We almost had a something, I'm going to be honest, is in the last episode of Raw I watched, Paul Bearer and Ted DiBiase have a spat on the King's Court over this. And it ends, and like fake Undertaker actually like starts choking out Paul Bearer. But then, and it's funny because I re-listened to our episode about this before this week, and so we had talked about the reveal moment. I thought we were going to get a reveal moment.
Yeah.
Because the lights, he's getting choked by Paul Bearer. The lights go down, and they're hinting that, oh my God, the other Undertaker is here. But then he doesn't show up. The lights come back up. Paul Bearer is out of the ring, perfectly fine now, yelling that, oh, my Undertaker is here! Even though, again, he doesn't appear.
Yeah.
And DiBiase and Undertaker are just like, huh? What's going on? Like, that is literally the segment. I'm like, my God.
Were they trying to make every worst decision possible? Like, the level of dumb here is insane.
No, it was such a layup of a segment, and they still don't really get it right because we don't even see the actual Undertaker.
How do you mess that up? I don't understand.
I don't get it either. I was just baffled watching it because I was like, oh my God, is something happening that I didn't think was going to happen? Is something happening? No, never mind.
Did the writers' brains collectively short circuit halfway through writing that bit? Because it's such an obvious setup. You know, if the lights go down, what happens next? Why aren't we doing that?
Yeah, I know. I have no understanding of what's going on here with that. But yeah, that happened. Bret Hart and Owen Hart is also in kind of this is just the way this works at this point in time, in that at this point in time, you know, once they set up the match, then they don't really try very hard to move things forward. Like, Bret and Owen's been in the places for months. So like there's not really a lot going on here in terms of like further plot progression. Most interesting thing is they had a bit is they're really trying to sell the idea that like the family is getting torn apart by this.
Has the family not been in the process of getting torn apart over the last however the fuck long they've been feuding?
Yes, but they're bringing it back again.
I see. I don't get it.
No, we got a segment of the King's Court where the only place where plot progression happens on these shows is Jerry Lawler.
Damn it, Lawler.
Yeah, so you got Owen Hart and Jim Neidhart, mugging for the camera, like kind of mean mugging around. He actually tries to play this off like Bret is the black sheep of the family here, that they're all behind Owen. But don't worry, Bruce Hart is here to disavow that notion.
Oops.
Yeah, Bret and Owen aren't the only wrestling brothers in the Hart family. All of them became wrestlers.
Wait, I forgot about this.
But Bret and Owen are the only two that are any good. So they're the only ones who kept wrestling. No. But they like to have the Hart family like show up for this is not the first time they've done this in this Owen versus Bret saga, where they've had the family come out and talk about it. So Bruce comes out and is like, "You're a disgrace, Owen," blah blah blah. Bruce sucks. The best thing that ever happened to Bruce Hart was during a match where all of the Hart family was wrestling as a team, and Bobby Heenan was on commentary, and he decides to shit on Bruce by going, "Hey, what kind of name is Bruce? Martha had 9 months to come up with a name, and the best thing she come up with is Bruce."
Sick burn.
He has better ones, admittedly, but that's always a memorable one. Is him just being like, "Oh, that's stupid. Bruce is a stupid name."
I guess it's cute.
My favorite one of Bobby Heenan's hates the Harts jokes is that like Stu Hart was sitting at ringside for this match, and he had like this big like leather jacket on with a bear on the back, and he goes, "Oh, look at that! Stu has a picture of his wife on his jacket. How nice!"
Ah! What the hell? Mean?
Calling not Martha Hart, Helen Hart. Calling Helen ugly and Stu old and stupid is the go-to place for making fun of the Harts by heel commentators.
Helen Hart. I gotta say that's a hell of a name.
Anyway, so that's that. I almost felt something by a match happening on Raw, but when Owen Hart kind of had a match with 1-2-3 Kid in this last episode, and it was really good until it ended when Jim Neidhart ran in and interfered, and so it was ended by DQ, and then they both just beat up the 1-2-3 Kid for a minute, and that's it.
What? Why?
Because they have to show how evil heels they are.
Fucking Hart Foundation.
By the way, thanks Bret for not helping.
Gotta say, I'm really the Hart Foundation really just does nothing but kind of annoy me whenever they show up. I really want to like them and be into them, but they just never really do a good job at making me feel anything other than like general annoyance in their general direction. There was like they had that one kind of like match where I was like, it's kind of cool they were like double teaming and going so hard, but like, Jesus guys, just chill out a little bit. Fuck.
Oof. But yeah, so that's that. Let's see. Razor, and time to get to stories that have actually made some progression that I can talk about. So, as we know that for SummerSlam, it's going to be Razor Ramon versus Diesel for the Intercontinental title.
Oh, don't say that name to me right now.
Yeah, so Diesel's on this show.
I know he's new generation. It's an open wound, Diesel, at the moment.
Yeah, so it's a lot of like Razor is having to fight Shawn and Diesel 2-on-1 and kind of failing because it's 2-on-1. Mm-hmm. Kind of the big one is that Shawn and Razor had a match on Raw that was also pretty good. Wow, they keep having these good matches on occasion. That's nice, I guess. But they have the match and Razor loses because Diesel boots him in the face and it gives Shawn the ability to win. So, but don't worry, he's got backup. Chicago Bears running back Walter Payton.
I'm sorry?
Because Leslie Nielsen was enough of a celebrity hook for you. We got Walter Payton in here.
What? Why?
So he's going to be at SummerSlam to make sure that Shawn Michaels doesn't try any funny business.
Is he wrestling?
Nah, he's just going to be there to stop Shawn from fucking around.
You know, I don't know if that's like a relief because he's like, not a wrestler, or disappointing because that would be hugely entertaining.
It probably would be pretty entertaining, yes. But yeah, so that's where that's at. All right, Lex Luger and Tatanka. This is the biggest. This is the most consistent weekly progression of any storyline going on so far.
Oh, woof.
So
woof.
It's been a series of continuing escalations of basically of Ted DiBiase is like, I have signed Lex Luger, and Lex Luger's kind of like, no, you haven't.
Incorrect.
But then Ted DiBiase keeps showing up for all of Luger's matches as if he was the manager.
Why?
Because he's I don't know. He's trying to sell the idea that he actually has purchased Lex Luger.
But he clearly oh god. You know what? I'm not going to question anything. The writing in this era is fucking stupid, and we're almost done with it. Oh, I'm just going to roll with it. Okay.
And Tatanka is like, what the fuck, bro? You've changed, bro. You sold out, bro. And so Lex Luger's like, man, I haven't done anything. I have literally done nothing. But because Tatanka wants to throw hands, they're going to throw hands at SummerSlam.
Of course. Okay.
And then we've had 2 new matches announced for SummerSlam to kind of round us out here.
Oh.
We had a women's segment, David. It is a miracle.
Oh.
David?
Femoids? In my 90s wrestling?
We had 2 women's segments in the last 6 weeks.
What? Okay.
As we're all kind of making jokes here, but I want to kind of point out that this era of women's wrestling isn't terrible because WWF's idea was, what if we just sign a bunch of talented women from Japanese wrestling and just put them on our show?
Yeah.
The problem is that they don't show them on TV, like ever. As an example to you of what I mean by that, I have now watched every Monday Night Raw from the end of WrestleMania 10 at basically the start of April to now, August 21st, 94. The women's champion has been on TV 3 times.
Oh, no.
There is nothing here.
And 2 of those 3 times happened in the last, month and a half.
Yep.
I'll give him points for putting them actually close together.
Yes, they're telling a real story with this one, actually. So basically, Alundra Blaze is the All-American champion, woohoo, and she's like, I want to challenge her for SummerSlam. I already beat Luna Vachon. Can I wrestle someone new, please? And then Luna shows up and is like, Alundra, please.
Oh no.
But she brings out Bull Nakano. Bull Nakano is one of the greatest Japanese wrestlers of all time. So this is very exciting. They had a match on Raw. It was actually pretty good, but Luna helped Bull win the match, and so now they're going to have a match at SummerSlam. Alundra Blaze versus Bull Nakano for the women's title.
Okay, that could be something. That sounds actually kind of promising.
Yeah, it probably will be. We're not going to watch it on this podcast because we can't watch full pay-per-views around here. But I'm sure it'll be very exciting.
All right.
I wanted to include it, David. I really did, but the top 3 matches already took 2 hours, so nothing.
Okay, fair enough.
And then in our newest, greatest rivalry for SummerSlam, Mabel versus Jeff Jarrett. The Doink the Clown thing basically got dropped. Nobody cares.
Thank Christ. Who's Mabel?
Yeah, Mabel is one of the 3 men in Men on a Mission.
Oh, those fuckers. Okay.
Yeah, basically, if you don't remember, they're basically the epitome of rap for white guys. I mean, they're all black, but the rap is that corny, early 90s rap that white people liked before gangster rap got popular. They unironically make one of their big, like, crowd chants, "Whoop, there it is."
Oh, no. I love to say, I love how multiple times in this podcast you have had reason to bring up, like, the pre-gangster rap era of, like, R&B.
Yeah, wow, yeah, it's true.
I appreciate it. Hey, wrestling is an inherently musical thing. You love to see it.
Yeah, so they've kind of threw this together at the last minute, 2 weeks before SummerSlam, because they need a mid-card match, and they're like, rap versus country. It's perfect.
Oh, kill me.
It's like they finally figured out they had 2 different gimmicks on this roster that were, like, musical themed. And they're like, dude.
Oh, wait. Oh, that was an Attitude Era. I was going to ask if Jeff Jarrett's fucking CDs dropped. No, that was Attitude Era.
Now, Jeff Jarrett's still heavy into the, I'm a country singer. Like 94 so he's a country singer. They're rappers. It's basically perfect, right?
Oh.
And like the only worthwhile segment I've seen of theirs is they had a segment where Jeff Jarrett won a match, and then Mabel and Oscar from Men on a Mission, because their names are not only the acronym MOM, but also all of their names, initials, are MOM.
Yeah.
Mabel, Oscar, and Mo.
Mom.
So, Mom. Anyway, so Oscar and Mabel comes out, and Oscar is spitting bars at Jeff Jarrett, and the whole time Jeff Jarrett is just in the ring doing like the chicken dance at Mabel, because Mabel is respecting the referees at like a good baby face, because he wants to get in the ring and fight, but the referees are like, nah man, don't do it. And so Mabel is respectful about it, and so then Jeff Jarrett's just like, bah, 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 bah. I don't think he does the noise, but he does the chicken miming.
I will say, for as many things as I do not like in this, I will give them this. I am pleasantly surprised that the black rappers are the baby faces here over the white country singer. I am pleasantly shocked at that.
That actually not the only time that ever happens, but the other time it happens in WCW, which is, again, Southern wrestling. So even though the country guys are supposed to be the obnoxious heels, the fans prefer the country guys.
Of course they do. But look, I'll give them credit where credit is due. That is a surprisingly, I don't quite want to say progressive, but not like a horribly stereotypical thing for them to do for mid-90s. Good job, golf clap.
Yay, team.
Yeah.
Only other thing worth mentioning that has no effect on storylines, thank God, but I remember that we are in the midst of a baseball strike, and the reason I know that is WWE's cashing in. Last week was the debut of Abe Knuckleball Schwartz. He is a baseball player. It is all to make fun of the players union stuff. He cuts a heel promo on how it's not the owner's fault that there's no baseball. It's not the players' fault there's no baseball. They're just being good businessmen. It's the fault of you, the fans, that there's no baseball.
Kill me. Please kill me. Life is pain.
It's so stupid, and like I said before, it's always a little bit uncomfortable when WWE decides to go take their pot shots and like, hey, we never go on strike, we never have an off season. It's like, yes,
I wonder why.
Well, because unlike real sports, you don't have a players union, you don't have a wrestlers union. That's why these things happen.
Oh,
in other sports, but not in yours. So, like, it's always uncomfortable for me when they decide to be like,
Wasn't this also when they were cutting those really cringy ads about the kid in the baseball field? And
yes.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's the same one. I don't know if it's the same. I haven't seen the commercial, but like they did. This would have been the right era because Macho Man was the guy in the commercial who like is like, "Don't worry, Jimmy,
little Jimmy.
I'll play baseball with you." Because the kid has no one to play baseball with. Because you get it? Because all the players are on strike.
My inner R-Truth just got triggered. Anyway. Oh, yikes. Okay, Knucklehead, or whatever the fuck. Is that the dude with the, like, whole-ass baseball painted on his face?
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay. Not shocked. Okay.
Yeah, also not the only sports gimmick I've had that exists.
I mean, this is the era of jobs as gimmicks, so it makes sense.
Yeah. So I was like, oh my god, oh, for God's sake. I have to watch this now.
Here we go, again.
I've never watched Abe Knuckleball Schwartz before, and sadly, now I can say that I have.
There's a first time for everything, buddy. I appreciate your sacrifice.
Anyway, it is time for Sunday Night Slam, and they've announced a few matches. And, the important matches. Even for a 90-minute show, this is still going to be mostly a jobber squashes, but they actually have a few good matches here. Named matches. Not necessarily good.
Oh.
So the premier match is Lex Luger versus Crush. I'm sure I'm going to enjoy that a lot.
Me too.
Then we're going to get the big boy beefy match between Diesel and Typhoon of the Natural Disasters.
Please tell me it's gonna let Typhoon show off athletic prowess more than it did in the episode we did with Elizabeth.
Probably.
Yay. Okay, I'll take it.
Yes, also Typhoon's a bit of in a weird spot right now because his tag team partner by this point has already quit and went back to WCW. So he's just kind of here and still here now, I guess.
Yikety, yikety, yikes.
And one of the premier matches is a women's match. Where we're going to get Bull Nakano versus Heidi Lee Evans. Who's that? Don't know. Never heard of her before. Never seen her before. Don't know who she is.
But a New Japan wrestler?
Not New Japan. New Japan is men's only. But a Japanese wrestler indeed.
Yay!
I don't believe we've ever talked about this before because it's never come up. But in Japanese wrestling, the wrestling companies are completely gendered. There's not really any major companies that are both men and women's wrestling. It's all it's like men's wrestling over here, women's wrestling over here.
Slightly disappointing, but okay. They're still really talented. That's cool. Yay! I'm happy. Finally get to see Japanese. Well, I guess not. Finally, we do have Taka, but still. Yay.
Yes, that, and then of course we get the Leslie Nielsen skits, and the show ends with we get to see Vince McMahon and Jerry Lawler in the WWF studio taking studio calls.
Oh no.
From the fans.
Oh no.
Gonna be a good time.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
But yeah, I guess I've never really talked about what Sunday Night Slam is. It's kind of what it sounds. Kind of like it's basically just there to be a hype up the pay-per-view special weekend show event. Yeah,
we're doing something not Raw. That's cool.
Yeah, it's very exciting. Anyway, that is our front half.
Alrighty.
We are going to see things, I'm sure.
We are going to use our eyeballs and observe moving pictures, and we will have some things to say about it in a little bit.
Yep. See you guys in the back half.
Hasta luego.
And we are back. We have just finished 90% of Sunday Night Slam, August 94. I'll explain that when we get to it.
I really pulled out my inner Nostradamus at the back end of the front half a little bit. That certainly was a set of moving pictures that I looked at with my eyeballs. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, I can't make this show about nothing joke, both because we've already did it.
We've already done it.
Two, because I can't say that nothing happened.
Yeah.
It's just it was there. Most of it was there.
This was a passable episode of New Generation. Now, longtime listeners will know that that we here on the Noobs and Knockouts podcast have a wee bit of a distaste for the new generation.
Mhm.
So this is a low bar to clear, but it was all right.
Yeah. Do we want to start with the headlining story, or do we want to go in order?
I mean, I feel like we should start with the headlining story because, like, the headlining story just kind of like pops in and out so like randomly and almost nonchalantly that I worry that like bringing it up in sequence will just kind of like diminish any effect that it has, and I want to at least give some credence to it.
Yeah, that's fair. This is gonna sound mean, but it almost feels like those segments kind of sums up the whole show.
Yeah, I gotta say, when you promised me Leslie Nielsen as a guest detective, I was definitely imagining something a little more not what we saw.
Yeah, it was. Most of it was underwhelming.
I was expecting him to like be there, which I guess it makes sense why he wasn't, because like Leslie Nielsen got to be out in L.A. doing his Leslie Nielsen thing, but like I was imagining him like
please have something better to do.
yeah, like I was just imagining him like in the arena, and like he's talking to commentary and he's talking to people and he's like dicking around in the audience, and like we have backstage segments of him like with a fucking magnifying glass or something.
I'm gonna spoil a little bit of SummerSlam for you and tell you that he does make an in-ring appearance.
Okay, that's cute. Sure. But yeah, so we got more on Undertaker versus Undertaker this time, and we were a bit mistaken in the front half. They were referring to him as Leslie Nielsen. He just acts like Frank Drebin the whole time.
Yeah, he acts like Frank Drebin, and they treat him as if he is an actual detective. That he's not an actor that played a detective. That he is a detective.
Yeah. But basically what it was is they showed like a little preview that I guess they'd already shown before of him talking about I am here to find the Undertaker.
Yeah, they do the whole setup of the entire feud so that you understand what we're doing here.
Yeah, oh yeah, we got a whole video package about it. Which I guess I appreciated seeing all those little like highlight reels.
Mm-hmm.
And it also just highlights for me like again just how stupid this whole thing is. I am far less incensed by it than my dear co-host here is. But I'm certainly just kind of sitting back
the first time.
Yeah. But I'm just kind of sitting back here like, okay, I guess. I made the comment to Austin when we were watching of like, I can understand like each segment individually why like people in the writer's room thought like this was okay, but just watching it all through, it's like, man, this is really missing something, and it just does not land whatsoever. Again, we've already covered this in the last episode, but honestly, this whole dumb Leslie Nielsen bit is probably the best thing this could ever have going for it as it exists, honestly.
Yeah, so, this is a whole lot of them trying to do jokes with Leslie Nielsen. I say try because I think most of them they're not even, they're so lazy I don't even think they're funny. Except for the last bit had some.
They were relatively amusing.
Yeah, so the first one he talks about that he has seen the light and he will find the truth about the Undertaker, and then the joke is that they like turn the lights out on him.
Yeah. And then we see him in like an office with like a friggin' Pepe Sylvia board up. And he hey Austin, could you tell that this episode had a corporate sponsor? It was really subtle, but I noticed some very like subdued product placement. Could you tell? Could you tell that this damn episode was hosted by Domino's?
Yeah, so they are the sponsor of SummerSlam, as Todd Pettengill is happy to remind us every time he comes on screen.
Way.
But yeah, so they have Leslie Nielsen order Domino's.
Yeah.
And the joke is that he drops something and the entire time that the delivery guy gets here, he's under his desk, so he's not looking at him. And the Undertaker is the one who delivers the pizza.
Oh God. It's just like I just like as a gag, it's cute enough, but also you have to remember that like WWF takes its kayfabe somewhat seriously, well, mostly seriously. So, like, in kayfabe, this makes no damn sense whatsoever.
Why is the Undertaker delivering pizza?
Why is the Undertaker delivering pizza? Why is he not sticking around in the office of the one detective who who's like trying to solve this case? Why isn't he showing up anywhere else? Is he just getting kicks out of being a cheeky bastard about this whole thing? What's going on?
Yeah, like why? Yeah, it just raises too many questions.
Questions that I'm sure Leslie Nielsen would be more than happy to bumble his way to answer.
Yeah, so there's that. The third one is he is like staring off into the distance in front of blatant green screens.
Yeah,
saying that
of different like locations, like
he's traveling around the world
yeah.
looking for cases, and the gag is that every lead is a dead end, and then it ends with him walking in front of a dead end sign in a cemetery, and he's like, I think I'm finally getting somewhere.
God. And then the fourth one is he's at some pool party or something.
The one that I enjoyed the most because it felt like actual attempts at jokes that I might see in a Naked Gun movie.
Yeah,
where
still like cheap versions of those jokes, but you know it's something.
It's in the vein, so like it's a whole lot of wordplay. Where the first thing is he interrupts a interview by Ray Rougeau, one of WWE's announcers, and Ray falls in the pool, and he like and while he's talking over this, he's like, I'm trying to catch some rays, and he like tries to catch Ray Rougeau as he falls in the pool. He makes another gag about Randy Savage that leads to Randy Savage. I missed this. I missed that one.
Me too.
And he talks, and then he opens up a magazine. He's talking about how he's finding the mystery around the globe, and the front page of the magazine is called Around the Globe, and it's about the Undertaker. And then he talks about the sun being black or for whatever reason. And then this like little kid reading the Wall Street Journal lectures him about how dumb he is or whatever. And he's like, thanks, son. Like, do you get it? Because the sun had a dark outlook. And and then he's like, how could there be two Undertakers? And then another Leslie Nielsen shows up to be like, perhaps one of them is a fraud. Officers, take them away. So apparently this whole time we've been following the fake Leslie Nielsen.
I will give them that. That is a cute like gag, and I appreciate like the practical effect that goes into doing a body double like that. But dear Lord.
Yeah.
The attempts at comedy here, they were not painful. Austin made a comment earlier on of like, man, they're really not attempting Naked Gun level humor. And I'm like, I feel like they tried to go full on like Naked Gun level humor, just be like bad and painful and like cringy as all hell. This was like, it was passable and mildly diverting. And that last segment was like actually cute enough because there was some wordplay.
Yeah, it's not like it was like so bad I'm just like dying of cringe. But it's just not that funny.
This Leslie Nielsen thing was a lot less of a thing than I kind of thought it would be. Which, like, damn, I'm really not learning my lessons with New Generation, am I?
Why? Because you keep thinking we're going to get something here. And we're not.
Every time, like, you promise me some, like, new level of bullshit that they pull off, I expect it to be some level of, like, bombastic. And it's just, it's not. It's all just really nonchalant and understated, and nobody clearly gives a shit.
This isn't the era where the bullshit is bombastic. That's the Attitude Era when you have bombastic Bart. Anyway, yeah. So that's kind of it. I guess if you want to call an A plot, that's the A plot of this.
I will say, you know, for as dumb as it kind of was, getting Leslie Nielsen in to do this bit was a decently good idea because, like, he can play lame comedy well enough. You know, watching that entire friggin' Todd Pettengill segment just makes me really happy that it, like, wasn't Pettengill or someone of his ilk, because that would have been, like, exceedingly painful. At least Nielsen,
Pettengill trying to do this detective shtick would have been awful.
God. Pettengill just clearly loves to hear himself talk, and those segments make me want to like invert my own fucking eardrums.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Todd Pettengill. I know he's got a real nostalgic charm these days, but no. But looking at it now, no.
Oh,
please no.
Todd Pettengill is where charisma goes to die.
Yeah, so I guess let's just go into the rest of the show. The rest of the show is pretty straightforward, which is for the best because I'm struggling to find the results online. So thankfully, it's not that hard to remember what actually happens.
Yeah. So we get big ooh la la headlining match of Lex Luger versus Crush. Luger gets the dub, obviously. I gotta say, again, the episode was passable. Like, none of the fights were like bad. The Luger versus Crush fight, for as much as I do not give a shit about Lex Luger, it was good enough. Like, they started off, it looked like it was going to be another like headlock central sort of match. They kind of actually got out of that pretty quickly, so I'll give them props for that, because that's a low bar accomplishment for friggin' New Generation. And there was actually a decent level of athleticism being shown off. I enjoy, I go back and forth on whether or not I enjoy brutalists. Like, it's really like dependent for me on like the individual performer. Crush is a decent brutalist, and it's just fun for me to watch him wail on Luger.
Yeah, this is a very strike heavy match as opposed to anything else.
Yeah,
very, they're punching and punching and punching.
Yeah.
And punching.
Well,
which is fine.
Crush gets a decent level of impact on Luger too. Like, I will give Crush this. Like, the stuff he lands feels like it lands. And Luger does a good enough job at selling. That throughout it does actually keep a sense of momentum. Where they are kind of hitting each other a decent amount, and when Luger gets hit, it feels like a tangible impact. I don't know exactly what it is about Crush's style that lends to that. He's just very good at getting those like hard hits and like getting jumps down from the top rope, and clearly exerting some level of weight when he has somebody in like any sort of submission hold, that is compelling enough just in the like, oh yeah, I imagine that hurts, and like, good show there, buddy.
Yeah, it was a decent enough match.
Yeah. And Luger matches up decently well. For as much as I don't care about his character, like, yeah, that was actually a good show of athleticism from him, and obviously he gets the dub because of course Murica gets the dub, and he's on the card for the pay-per-view, so yeah, of course we're gonna give him a win.
Yeah, and related to that is DiBiase comes out in the middle of the match to kind of be on Luger's side, and kind of leading again to this.
Oh my god, this whole stupid.
Like they keep trying to be. It's very story of continuing. Luger is rejecting DiBiase's affiliation, and DiBiase keeps showing up as if there is an affiliation.
Man, this is the worst will they won't they I've ever seen.
It kind of is, yes.
Because the question isn't will they won't they, it's more like, when will DiBiase get the hint and fuck off?
This is like the wrestling manager equivalent of the beleaguered nice guy who just keeps asking until he gets a yes.
Oh god, DiBiase as a nice guy makes way too much sense. God, yeah. So that was a thing. And again, I was just rooting for Crush to get the dub. I knew he wasn't going to, but it looked like he should have. I'll give him that he put on a pretty good show. And I appreciate his kind of like brute strength style. He's one of the ones I can kind of get down. Maybe it's just because he was beating up on Luger, but I appreciated kind of what he brought to the ring. And Luger was serviceable enough.
Yeah, so we get that, and we get to a tag team match between the $1 Million Man's peak actual cronies, IRS and Bam Bam Bigelow. No promo from IRS this time about how we're all tax cheats.
I'm very disappointed.
And then they're facing the 1 2 3 Kid and fucking Sparky Plugg.
Yeah. I noted to Austin how funny I find it that IRS is paired up with Ted DiBiase, who $1 Million Man not being a tax cheat is like the most like sus thing I've ever heard. So at the same time makes all the sense, because of course he doesn't care because DiBiase's rich, so like why would he care?
I mean, I would point out that the IRS has cut a promo about how he completely doesn't understand progressive taxation because he cut a promo about how the rich people pay the most in taxes, so you people need to pay your fair share to ease that burden.
Shakes fist, pours.
Yeah, so I'm sure in his mind, DiBiase pays too much in taxes. Actually,
yeah. IRS won't be satisfied until DiBiase is legally a tax cheat. The ultimate irony. But yeah. That match. I mean, look, 1-2-3 Kid is in the match. As I remarked while we were watching it, 1-2-3 Kid can make anybody look good in ring. He is exceptional.
yeah.
I deeply enjoy watching him, as I've made abundantly clear on this show already. And he does pair up well. He even makes Sparky seem somewhat notable.
He makes Sparky look way cooler by comparison.
I will say, there was kind of this cool kind of dichotomy going on here because both Bam Bam and IRS, like, you know, speaking of Brutalist, that's kind of more their style, and Sparky is more of kind of like the limber dexterity guy like 1-2-3 is. So seeing his brand of that paired up next to 1-2-3, it feels like, you know, I'm sure as a standalone, Sparky's not all that impressive, but when paired up next to 1-2-3, it feels like a natural match. And it looks good enough. Like, your mind kind of gets tricked into thinking both of them are particularly talented when one of them is clearly carrying the weight.
Yeah, and Bam Bam Bigelow is an athletic.
He's great
and is on his own. He was showing off in this match.
Oh my god. Bigelow gets some holds in this match. He got some good holds in this match, didn't he?
He wasn't the hold. He didn't do a whole lot.
Okay.
That's more Bull than the next match.
Oh, okay. That I was thinking of Bull. No, but Bigelow does get some good stuff. He is surprisingly limber for his size. And he just generally squares up better against someone like 1-2-3 Kid than you might think. Or at the very least, like, it's less about like the look at the big dude versus look at the small dude. Like, he kind of does hold his own against 1-2-3 Kids, like flips and tricks and shit.
Yeah, he doesn't hit it, but he does have his like signature move where he like dives off the top rope. That's Greetings from Asbury Park, I believe is what that's called.
Wait, isn't that a Springsteen album?
Probably.
Oh god, I'll have to ask my brother about that one. But he was enjoyable. I was impressed. Again, Bam Bam's one of those people that hits hard, hits well. And against someone especially as kind of lanky as 1-2-3 Kid and Sparky, it really does make a splash when it connects. And 1-2-3 Kid, on top of being a really good worker, he's exceptionally good at selling too. And not in like an over the top way, like it's really realistic. So the two of them going up together was a good enough matchup. And IRS is competent enough. Like, he's not a standout wrestler by any means, but he's a big, thick boy, and he works well enough that putting him in a ring with someone produces good enough results generally.
I put him in the same category as Sparky Plugg in that he's not particularly impressive as a solo guy, but in a tag team it can work. He works. He more easily hides the fact that he's not that interesting.
Well, because I kind of not to like shoehorn in a theme here, but this kind of, you know, brings me back to something I said to you while we were watching of like, you know, these matches are competent in this episode, like across the board, they're competent. But I still can't connect with them. And that's just because I do not care about these characters. And that's the general consensus, as you said, for New Generation. IRS, because he's such a dumb meme, I do enjoy him somewhat as a character, even if it's wholly ironic. So that boosts it in my mind. And that's kind of like a thing with the New Generation on a whole, and like this episode especially is like their ability to plot things for the most part is just non-existent. So, you know, I there are a couple like gimmick characters that I can enjoy because they're funny, and that makes me enjoy them more in rings. I'm just like, oh, cool, I'm getting to see more of them. So even though IRS isn't particularly impressive, like, I look at him and I watch him, and I'm like, yeah, that's fun because he's a fun character.
Yeah.
So it kind of shows off the weird little thing the new generation had going, wherein it's so much of it is dragged down just by this subpar writing.
And they're trying to make more characters fun characters like the IRS. Oh boy, are they trying.
Yeah.
But it usually isn't working.
Well, and the thing is too, I don't know how well IRS landed like back at, back in the actual day. He lands well with me today because for some reason I just particularly find that concept really, really funny. And just generally the big scary, like, everybody's a tax cheat dude in like 2021 feels like kind of this brand of humor that I can appreciate in the modern age. I don't know how well he landed like in 94 or wherever, whenever.
That's fair.
He doesn't seem like a particular fan favorite, but the whole like everybody's a tax cheat thing, I imagine, at least makes him stand out somewhat.
Yeah. He's memorable, even if it's for like the absolutely insane idea for a wrestling character of thinks everyone is a tax cheat. Gonna talk about taxes all the time.
But that does feel like a pertinent thing to really think about when it comes to this era, because again, we're seeing in action the piss poor ability to create any sort of compelling storytelling. And so it leads to, like, we bring in Leslie Nielsen for a guest spot, and it's like the bits are charming, but they're not particularly funny. I imagine if this whole Undertaker thing were played better, I would have found them, even if they existed in the exact same way, I would have found them a bit more like fun and charming and entertaining if everything surrounding it wasn't the stupidest waste of potential in the universe.
Yeah, like it feels like everything in the new generation is either bad or a waste of potential. Not really anything better than that.
And it really shows the WWF's ass here, because because as we've kind of discussed, we'll touch on every once in a while in this show, is they put on a weekly fake fighting show. That's a lot of work, and it's very hard to keep a consistently really good quality. That's why there are like really standout episodes, because you can only pull out like the really, really good stuff, once in a while. This is an era that just really shows how true that is, because even when things are serviceable, everything surrounding it is so nothing that it just feels extremely bare bones. Even if you transplanted these matches to a modern era with just better like kayfabe storyboarding around it, it would be a much more fun episode. It shows this company's ass so much, and it's kind of a really interesting case study of how they run things.
Yeah, if I was more invested in these characters, and as I told David this when we were watching it, is that I've watched, when you're talking about this topic, I've watched 5 months of this by now. If I was going to be invested in any of these people, I would be. And I would be, and like, yeah, if you did the exact same matches again, but I was invested in the characters, I'd probably say this was a pretty good episode. But without that character investment, I just don't care.
Yeah, this era, its biggest crime is kind of reminding us how really dumb wrestling is, like as a running business model and like as an entertainment concept. Because if you keep it up like this, it's just non-viable. It can't stand on its own for particularly long. Thank God for the Attitude Era saving its ass and setting it back on a good trajectory. But that makes
praise be the ECW and the NWO and the Attitude Era as a whole. Jesus,
I know. But it does. That's what makes this era fascinating. Is just watching this company flounder makes you appreciate why in other places it works. It really makes you understand that, which I think is kind of a cool takeaway to have from this era, if nothing else, because the rest of it sucks so hard.
Yeah,
take the wins where we can.
So, Bam Bam gets the win.
Yeah.
And that man,
Bam Bam. Yeah, the heels get the dub here. Woo!
That does set up for the SummerSlam pre-show match that they announced. The Head Shrinkers, who I forgot were the tag team champions because they haven't been on Raw, taking on Bam Bam and IRS.
I'm noticing a theme here. People just not being on Raw for a long
time. I would segue that into the women's match, but technically Razor Ramon happened first.
Oh yeah. Razor Ramon in a jobber squash against some motherfucker in colorful pants. It was dumb. Jobber squashes are dumb.
Yeah, like I told David, like people will swear by jobber squash matches as an effective means of getting over another wrestler, getting over a top wrestler. And I'm sorry, I just don't see it. I don't see how, I don't understand the appeal. I can understand the appeal on an occasion. I don't understand the appeal. I don't understand how, like, watching a dude like Razor Ramon beat up on cans again and again and again actually makes him more popular. I don't see why that makes me like him more.
It's the different sensibilities of the fans generation by generation, right?
Yeah, I accept that's probably it. Is that like this shit got phased out in the Attitude Era because WCW was like, nah, we ain't doing jobber squash matches. So then it's the cycle of like, well, if WCW is not going to do them, then WWE can't get away with it. And now suddenly the genie's out of the bottle. We can't go backwards. So I'm born into this era where jobber squashes are just pretty much eradicated and just kind of completely dumb filler, as opposed to being the primary means of wrestling television, like they are even in '94.
Well, because you and I are modern viewers, and not only are we modern viewers, we're both gigantic nerds. So you know, between those kind of two, you know, irrefutable facts, we are of a mindset of we get into these things because of compelling storytelling. That is very much the modern wrestling sensibility of appreciating the story that's being told on some level. And I mean, obviously,
the story being told like in the ring.
Yeah, in-ring storytelling. And you know, with good kayfabe to surround it, right? Yeah, there's and on top of that, you know, obviously we've now made it our jobs to, like, you know, dig through you know, different wrestling media and be like, please God, let there be some like deeper thing to analyze here. But you know, we are of a generation that appreciates storytelling, that is compelled by storytelling, and that feels like we want to have our fighting justified with said storytelling. That older generation, they grew up on the superstars. Like, if you think about what defines the golden age, like, there are storylines there, sure, but what defines it is Hulk Hogan, is Randy Savage, is Andre the Giant. It's the characters. So having these jobber squashes, to them, I imagine why it compels them so much is because they're effectively exhibition matches. See all your favorite wrestlers, show why they're such cool badasses, and then if you want to see all the cool badasses go up against each other in like an Avengers Civil War style, like free-for-all, then pay extra money and you get the cool shit. But like, for
either
now,
like go on buy the pay-per-view or buy a ticket.
Yeah, exactly. But for now, watch the, you know, if you're just a, you know, a filthy casual free member, you know, watch the exhibition matches where we show off that, like, yeah, these are big strong boys that can do cool stuff. And I can understand why that appeals to a sensibility of somebody who grew up, you know, where the main draw is the stars. For us, that's not really the case. We appreciate the stars. I have plenty of modern stars that I won't shut the fuck up about how much I love, but they're not I love them because of the stories that surround them, because of the characters that are created, and not just some like weird cult of personality attached to a muscly, oiled up, spray tan dude.
Yeah, I think that like as wrestling becomes more and more a real television product in terms of how it like when it stops necessarily being a whole lot of like yelling at each other over the microphone on a microphone, and there's more complexity to it than that, then jobber squashes are just filler.
Yeah.
And that's in a, as a if we're supposed to treat wrestling TV as an appetizer, as a mouth waterer, as a small taste to get you to try get the full course, then it works just fine. As part of a narrative within a television show, they're stupid and they're kind of boring. And that's what wrestling is now. That's the only way that I've ever been able to see wrestling. And so I'm like, please stop.
Yeah. Which again is why I say, like, I'm sure, like, if we got older viewers starting to watch this show, we'd piss them off with a lot of our takes, because oh my god, do we shit all over these older eras, me especially. So apologies.
My absolute hot take that I like wrestling more and better now than I do in the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
And I understand that not growing up, and I completely am aware that not growing up in it probably affects that.
Oh, well, no, that is nothing compared to my nuclear take that I do not find the Golden Age particularly compelling.
That one's too spicy for me.
That one's too spicy.
I am going to try to prove to you that this can at least be fun.
I mean, it had its moments, right? You heard me gush about that that moment Miss Elizabeth pulls out Hulk Hogan and, like, it's all cool. Like, it has its moments, but it does not match up for me to things like Summer of Punk. I'm sorry. I know that's like a nuclear take that is totally born of me being a complete modern, filthy noob. But oh my god, I'm sorry. But anyway, not the point. And I mean, the other thing is we talked about too of jobber squashes can be done well in the modern era, like we were talking about, with Lucha Underground. Jobber squashes are fun because the characters are, like, actually, like, somewhat distinctive and not just like a random dude in a different color set of spandex. So they can be done well, but again, you need to attach something to it, because otherwise, again, it just feels like an exhibition match, and to at least viewers like us, that does not feel particularly compelling anymore.
Yeah, I think that you look modern jobber, and I think that's across the board. Is that you look at jobbers in the modern sense, is that the ones that do exist have a lot of personality to them, because I think there's an understanding that's kind of what you need. At this point in time, that in '94, whatever, some random idiot in basic wrestling gear, who cares?
Yeah, exactly. But luckily, this was a relatively jobber squash less episode. So,
this is a special. There were 6 matches and only 2 were jobber squashes, because this is the important matches kind of a show.
Yeah. So that at least made it feel at least somewhat less painful. But then we got the women's match, and oh my god,
yes,
yeah,
where is Heidi
Good
Lee
women's wrestling?
Where has Heidi Lee Morgan been?
Where's Heidi Lee Morgan been? I mean, I know, like,
I know where Bull Nakano is. She's in Japan.
Yeah, a Bull Nakano I've never met before, but, like, hot damn, oh my god. I feel
we're basically praying to the Church of Joshi today right now.
Yeah,
because oh man, Bull Nakano was great.
I'm really starting to notice a pattern with the lady wrestlers that I'm like, hot damn. Because I think if it's like Bull Nakano and Nyla Rose, and I'm like, what's the thread here? But yeah, oh my god, that was a really good match. Oh my god, the two of them.
It starts with Heidi Lee Morgan just doing some high flying.
High flying and, like, weirdly effortlessly pushing Bull Nakano around the ring. Oh my god. You guys gotta understand, if you haven't seen this, Heidi is tiny. This woman is small and she is a twig. But with ease.
And Bull Nakano is a hoss. She's big.
Yeah. She is thick. 2 C's. It's awesome. But she is moved around this ring like it's nothing by Heidi, and I'm sitting here truly in awe. I'm like, how is this very small woman pulling this off?
No, it is fantastic. I've never heard of her before, and I'm like, oh my god, I need to find all of her matches. I want to see more Heidi Lee Morgan. Because
yeah. Oh my god.
really impressive match overall.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was Bull Nakano I was thinking of. Bull Nakano gets some really cool holds on Heidi. And Heidi, yeah. I have to imagine, is flexible as all hell because of some of the position. Yeah.
But like I can't even like describe all of the moves, but Bull Nakano did a fantastic job of just kind of like constantly transitioning to different moves in completely different submission moves completely smoothly.
Yeah, in like a blink of an eye. And constantly. It wasn't one or two switches. She goes between like 5 or 6 at least. Oh my god. And she just seems she does a good job at I mean she's not a particularly like impressive like heel character from like just this one match, but like I can even tell like the charisma she has. Like even though she probably doesn't speak English all that much, which is why she has Luna Vachon. Can I just refer to Luna as on this show? Because God, oh, she annoys me. But it was probably why she's freaking Luna as her manager. But like even then, she does a good job at like playing up, like arguing with the ref and just being a dick. She seems like so much fun.
She like stomps Heidi Lee's arm, and then once she's doing the submission stuff, she starts biting her hand.
I know. And the ref doesn't care, and you almost like
the ref's just like, hey.
The ref feels like scared to say things to her, which is understandable. I would be scared to say things to her too. My mouth would dry up and just little like blah blah sounds would come out. But it oh my god. What was really cool about this match too, it didn't for as much as I talk about it, I enjoy having my matches where it's like, the limber versus the brutalist. This for their very obvious physical like stature differences, this did not feel as much like that. Like it was a little bit, but it wasn't so like kind of ham-fisted. There was a lot going on in this match.
Bull Nakano isn't, despite her size, it didn't wrestle very much like a power wrestler.
Yeah,
like, she's a lot more technically focused.
She's limber and agile too, and Heidi is really strong.
No, it's that judo tossing Bull Nakano was a real what the fuck moment.
I know. And there's just this one image seared into my mind. Bull Nakano got Heidi into like this like really fucky fireman's carry. It wasn't a fireman's carry because it wasn't up on her shoulders. It was like down like in front of her stomach.
Oh yeah, is this when she has?
No. Austin, no. Austin, no.
David? David?
Hey, there we are.
Okay, I rambled about Bull Nakano for a second before I decided to try to update.
Oh god.
But yeah,
but yeah, the little like holding her in front of her stomach. Oh my god. Like she had her legs kind of twisted around a little bit. And just that image was so cool because it was like this big woman like just carrying this small woman.
I didn't realize there's a wrestler in the late Divas era that used that move, and I did not realize that's where he took it from.
Oh my god. Well, that's so cool though that Bull Nakano was like influential like that. I'm not surprised, but like, oh my god. And Heidi does a really good job at selling too. It was kind of fun for earlier. Like at first, she's in this one submission hold. Luna's got her trapped again. Or no, not Luna. Bull's got her trapped again. And like she almost looks like she's enjoying herself and like laughing a little bit, but like it slowly just like is like, oh no, that's like cries of pain. Oh god. Yeah. It was an awesome match. I really enjoyed that, which is interesting because I don't know much about either of these characters. But in this case, the fighting was more than serviceable. It was clearly done by very two talented women who clearly had a lot of technical prowess and clearly had good in-ring chemistry. So that was a great match to watch, and that definitely brought the episode up a bit for me too. It was like, it especially, oh my god, after slogging through so much divas, this was so nice.
Yeah, I was hoping that this match would be a little bit of almost a preview of where we're going with NXT.
So hype.
And I was completely right because this match was something else. Great time. Bull gets the win, obviously. She has the match. She has the title match in a week.
Yes, which, again, she's one of those heels that, like, I immediately just start rooting for off the bat. Not even this time because I had a distaste for the face. I'm just like, damn, that heel, though.
Yeah, well, I enjoy you, Heidi. I'm glad to discover you, but also time to die. It's Bull Nakano time.
Yeah, you have chosen death. And yeah, Bull gets the win by she gets Heidi down, jumps off the top rope, and you just know, like, oh yeah,
there's a leg drop off the top.
Leg drop off the top damn rope. Oh yeah, you like as soon as she gets up there, you're like, okay, rip Heidi. But it doesn't feel like a disrespectful win. This was a match that felt very respectful to both of its participants. And it was very cool to see more of these.
And then next up, we had an interview with Bret Hart.
It was kind of generic, honestly.
Yeah,
like I praised his on mic performance in the 1 2 3 Kid episode. This was a lot more like it went on a little too long. It was just him calling out Owen and like, ever since you were a baby, you were always a little shit. But like, basically,
I did enjoy him calling Jim Neidhart fat and stupid, even though it's like, dude, you wrestled with him as your tag partner for like a decade. And you're like, he's always been really fat and stupid and ugly, and I don't like him.
I could see that going from an affectionate, like, friendly, you're fat and stupid to like, I don't like, you're fat and stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was kind of drawn out. It was fine enough. I mean, I enjoy Bret enough to kind of give it a pass. Like, okay, buddy, do what you got to do. I know this is your big literal blood feud. So go off, I guess.
Bret's trying his hardest to justify his loss to Owen to not make it seem. Yeah, he's like, oh, but you see, that was only that match wasn't for the title, and I was distracted because later in the night I had the WWE title match against Yokozuna. So,
but I was only pretending to be a loser.
But no, he tries to play it off like a fluke, and I don't necessarily know if that was the best character direction. Like
I disagree with that. Yeah, I don't think that's a strong way for Bret to go.
No, it's not he doesn't have a strong case. I think it would have been better off, him just being like, yeah, he got the better of me, but I'm the best there is, the best there ever was, the best there ever will be, yada yada. He's not going to get me twice. I've been training up. I'm ready now.
Yeah,
with the title on the line, I won't fail again.
That just feels more right for Bret anyway. Like, Owen seems like the one who would make excuses. Bret doesn't seem as much like he should be the one who's like, well,
I took it easy on you because you're my brother, and it was not for the title, so I wasn't as focused, and blah, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, no, that doesn't seem like Bret at all, so that was kind of dumb. But, like, it was fine. It didn't hurt. I was like, okay. So, go get it, buddy. Go off, I guess.
Yeah, and then next match, the match of the big boys.
The big boys.
Typhoon and Diesel.
Big boy. Oh, yeah. Okay, I will say Diesel in this match was actually pretty good. As loath as I am to say nice things about Diesel at this particular juncture.
David's still not over last week, so
I'm really salty. But no, it was a good match. Typhoon again. Typhoon, as Elizabeth very smartly pointed out when we had her on, was Typhoon for as big a boy as he is, really surprisingly athletically gifted, dexterous. He does some jumpy top rope shit that I'm like, ooh, hello.
no, it's a battle between, Diesel is the lean tall
He's
one
a
here,
long boy.
and Typhoon's a bit of a big old fat boy.
I will give Diesel this. He doesn't nearly have the same amount of finesse, but like aesthetically and lengthwise, he does almost feel like a precursor like Johnny Mundo.
I can see how that aesthetically kind of looks like that because Mundo is similarly very lithe.
Yeah, and and Diesel uses his length to his advantage. Like he does like the kicks, and he's able to his wingspan, right?
Oh yeah,
works to his advantage of trying to like get safer hits where he's not as much in danger of getting just yeeted by the force of nature that is Typhoon.
Yeah, and amazingly, force of nature.
Yeah, you see what I did there?
Yeah. Amazingly, Shawn Michaels doesn't really get involved.
Shawn Michaels is weirdly restrained.
He lets Diesel do his thing here.
Yeah.
And Diesel does get the win. The commentary questions this, and I also had the same one: is he going to do the jackknife powerbomb on a man who's 400 pounds? The answer is no. He just kind of does the big boot to the face.
Yeah.
A couple of times, and that's what gets the pin.
Am I correct in remembering that like Diesel even not Diesel, Typhoon even like does a flip at some point in this match, or am I crazy?
I don't remember him doing that.
I just remember him doing something where I'm like that's surprising for your size.
Yeah, I'm not remembering it.
I don't know. He does all this to say he's not just a brutalist. He does bring more to the table than just I hit hard and like, sit on people or whatever.
Yeah.
That's what's his face's shtick. But it was a nice enough match to watch. Again, I don't care about these characters, and it wasn't like a good enough show that like I was like, oh, I don't care that I don't know the characters. It's still fun. Like it was fine. Diesel was, I was like, okay, fine, you're cool. Typhoon is fun to watch because he brings more to the table than like you would think just by looking at him. Honestly, I was also just really appreciating Shawn Michaels' drip. Like he had on like, one of those tops that's like it's just like sleeves and a collar and just like dangly shit. It was a bunch of crosses.
Oh yeah, he is really going wild these days.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate it. He's showing off his style, and
he's missing his assless chaps. These chaps are fully assed.
Unfortunately, no. Just baby Shawn Michaels is a wild sight to see. Like he just looks so young, and I'm like, this looks like too young for Shawn Michaels. I know, like he was called the Heartbreak Kid for a reason, but like, wow. That's a baby face if ever that's a baby faced heel if ever I seen one.
Yep, he's got that nice face, handsome face.
Yeah, he looks like a sweet little boy, even though he's a dick. But
yep. So yeah, Diesel gets the big win. Again, these matches are besides the tag team match, there was not really any question as to who was ever winning any of these. Because guess what? The people who have pay-per-view matches on next week, they're the ones who are going to win.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, shocker, right?
Yeah, so that happens, and then the last match is a squash, is with the Underfaker.
Oh God. Yeah, we have Underfaker here.
Whole lot of nothing. Not even anything worth talking about.
It lasts for 2 minutes and it's done immediately. It did make me question, again, not to beat too much of a dead horse and just constantly bitch about how dumb this storyline is, but like, what does Ted DiBiase want with an Underfaker anyway? Like, let alone with the Undertaker himself. Like, I get Ted DiBiase likes buying people, but like, Undertaker comes with like a whole lot of baggage that you got to deal with. And what kind of highlighted this for me was when Undertaker pins the jobber that he went up against. DiBiase's getting out the body bag, just
literal baggage.
Yeah, literal and figurative. Gets out the body bag, for the jobber to deposit it. And I'm like, this seems like the sort of thing that DiBiase could not be bothered to do. Why is he going to all this trouble? Like, if you really think about it, DiBiase, let alone dealing with like the Undertaker, is just like a lot. Like having an Underfaker, it doesn't make sense. Like you could argue like it's just like a trophy case thing for him, like he wants to own all the wrestlers, but real Undertaker would never bite. But like it just seems like if you got to keep up the act, like it's too high maintenance for someone like DiBiase to really feel like they should be invested in. Why?
Like you expect me to believe the return on investment here is working out?
Yeah, it just makes no sense why he's gone to all this trouble anyway. And I would like to think that maybe we'll get some semblance of a fucking explanation when we do SummerSlam. I was about to say I highly doubt that's the case. Again, that would imply that the writing has to be like actually intelligent. And
this story, we are getting out of here after SummerSlam. We're just getting rid of this whole thing. We're done.
Can we just like pretend like this doesn't exist? Can we just like do that? This never happened.
WWE writers the day after SummerSlam.
Yeah, true. They knew it was a sinking ship.
But they were like, we've committed. We've already committed to doing this, Matt. So let's just do it and be done. We're done.
Yeah, God. It just none of it makes any sense. It's stupid. You can clearly tell the Underfaker is a faker. Like every time because here's the catch-22 they run into. They have to do close-up shots of the Underfaker to make it feel like you're doing authentic Undertaker. But the minute you do a close-up shot, even if the face is super obscured, you can tell this isn't the right guy. So you're kind of stuck here of everyone all of a sudden being like, man, Undertaker's face got a lot rounder. Oh wait, we already revealed that it's not the real one. So why are we going to all this trouble anyway?
Yeah, he just doesn't look. The face was the only real problem, and unfortunately, it's a big problem because you're right. Is that like the close-up shots, the close-up under the Undertaker shots are especially at this point in time really iconic for the Undertaker. So like you can't not do them, but when the minute you do them and you point the camera up at his face, you can see it's not him because he has the hair, he's got the build-ish. He's got the height, but at the end of the day, he doesn't have the face.
Yeah. God. It's just a lot of really dumb. And I'm really excited to be done with this because, oh my Lord, it really is. Like again, I didn't get vehemently angry like I was kind of gearing up to when you first warned me about us doing this storyline. But it's just disappointing, and it just feels like I'm wasting my time here because there's no forethought. There's no investment, and just nothing they try putting into this works. Like the best we get is Leslie Nielsen. That's the best we could ever get out of something like this. Is like this poor comedy man who deserves way better, trying his best because he's getting paid for it. And he actually does a decent job at being charming because he's Leslie Nielsen. Even in his worst work, you can't help but be like, this guy, So that's sure. We get some cute segments out of it. Oh my God, am I excited to only have one more fucking episode of this left.
Yes, to wrap this one up, as I said at the beginning of the back half, we're in 90%. So the entire night they're hyping up that at the end of the show, the last 30 minutes, it's about 17, can you consider commercials, it is a phone call-in segment between Jerry Lawler and Vince McMahon in the WWF studios, taking actual calls from actual fans, and it just kind of being an excuse for Jerry Lawler to riff.
Yeah, Austin was a merciful God this time around and let us skip that.
Yeah, it adds to it amounts to nothing. It's just Jerry Lawler doing his shtick and then cutting them off with this cartoonishly large red button that hangs up the phone.
Look, I can only say "Shut Up, Lawler" so many times in succession before I turn inside out, dissolve into a sentient black hole, and scream the true name of God.
Yeah, so I didn't see any point in us really watching like 15 minutes of that, because that is literally all it is, and that is the entire rest of the show.
Yeah.
So what is, I don't see a point in bothering. I don't think there's anything worthwhile there.
All hail the merciful Austin. We are not worthy.
But
Yeah, no.
that is our show.
That was an episode. Overall, not the worst New Generation episode we've watched, but dear God, does it really lay bare? Well, it's ironic how relatively not bad this one was. Just really lays bare why this era sucks so hard, because you're sitting there thinking this should work, and it just does. It should work on some level, and you just can't connect with it for the most part. We had one good women's match. Leslie Nielsen bits were kind of cute. That's it. So it's an exercise in frustration at this point of God, you could have done so much better with this and you just didn't.
Yeah, I kind of agree. It feels like a microcosm of this era where there's like one or two good things, a couple more things that should kind of be good but aren't really, and then a whole lot that is that just isn't worth it.
Not remotely. It's sad and it's frustrating, but the nice thing is this was just under 20 years ago. You know, we know we have so much more on the horizon that's so much better. It's just like, it's really baffling to watch this and be like, how the hell did this company not collapse under the weight of its own dust in the mid-90s?
It came so close.
It came within a fucking hair's
width. But in the end of the day, it survived.
Yeah, I know.
Amazingly.
And all the better for it. Just, oh my God. We only have one left. And merciful schedule. Next week we get to go back to Boyle Heights.
Yeah, we do, because next time we are returning to Boyle Heights.
Yay.
As Lucha Underground continues, we are merely episodes away from an episode that I have been very excited to talk about. But for now, we are continuing on our trek, and in classic Lucha Underground fashion, they announce absolutely nothing going in the prior episode. But
yes, good.
We do know that the next episode is called Eye for an Eye.
Oh, buddy. I know what that means.
Yep. That's a very exciting reference. Before we go, it has been brought to my attention that perhaps we should talk about where you can watch these wrestling shows that we talk about, and going forward I will. Unfortunately, this is a bad week to do that, because here's the thing. So WWE is current moved network in America shut down. I watch this stuff via VPN, which can be found for cheap and sometimes free, but it's not easy to do. They are moving their stuff to Peacock slowly. So as of right now, unless you are comfortable using a VPN, there is no way to really find this episode, Sunday Night Slam from August 1994, that I could find. I could not find it at all. So if you are looking to watch it, you can probably find the Leslie Nielsen bits on YouTube.
Yeah.
You know, maybe I'd search for the women's match. That's probably doable. And other than that, you know, there is, if you use a VPN, you can go on the WWE network and find it. But going forward, I will remember to bring up where you can acquire these wrestling matches. I admit that we pay legally for our stuff here unless it literally can't be found elsewhere. So, you know, WWE Network is $9.99 a month. Peacock, if that will eventually, Sunday Night Slam will eventually be on Peacock. That is $9.99 a month for no commercials. I believe it's $7 a month where you get limited commercials. But
Yeah.
I don't know, because it's the same cost as the network to have no commercials, so I just have no commercials.
Yeah. The unfortunate thing is a lot of these are kinda are hidden behind paid streaming services. As
Yes.
much as we would love to give you guys direct access to, like, our watch streams.
Yes, support the official release, of course, but I also understand that for those of you who are not as big into wrestling, it can kind of suck to have to pay for stuff when you're just trying to discover it for the first time. You don't know if you'll even like it.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
that is unfortunately the best answer I can give. That.
Occasionally there are things you can find on YouTube, but for the most part,
Yeah, YouTube, and I'll talk more about it next week as a reminder, but Lucha Underground is available for free on Tubi. You just have to make an account.
Nice.
So that part, our favorite stuff, that's free. You can you can find that where you can get that easily. It is free with commercials. But yeah, for WWE stuff, I'm mostly just going to tell you the network or Peacock, and both of those are behind paywalls.
Absolutely.
But yeah, David, time to hit our plugs.
Yes, sir. My friends, my wonderful, dear friends, thank you once again for joining us on another episode of the Noobs and Knockouts podcast. If you are a returning listener, thank you so much for coming back and spending your time with us. We are delighted to have you here. If you are a first-time listener, welcome. We are honored that you decided to join us. We hope you continue to join us more in the future. If you would like to do so and you're not entirely sure how to, not to worry, my friends. I have the answer for you. 1, you can subscribe to us on YouTube. We are the Noobs and Knockouts podcast. Hit subscribe, ring that bell, give us those likes and comments, and add us to your playlist. Go through our playlist. We have all of our storylines broken down into individual playlists. Thanks to Austin for that one. So if you want to follow a specific storyline all the way through, you can do that very easily. You can also find us on 3 of the best places to listen to your podcast, and that would be Spotify, Apple, and Google. Follow us, give us ratings, just generally listen to us, give us those clicks. Just all the engagement. We revel in it. Any amount of support you can show our show, and if you want to tell the algorithm that we're a nice thing to listen to, by all means, we ain't gonna complain. So yeah, be sure to check us out on there. You can also follow us on our socials. You can find us on Twitter at Noobs and Knox Pod. That's Noobs, the letter N, Knox Pod. We tweet out just random funny little memes. We engage with the broader wrestling fandom community at large. We post whenever our episodes drop. And of course, Austin live tweets wrestling wherever it happens. My friend, what is the schedule for this upcoming week?
Yes, as usual. AEW every week, because it's the only one I consistently watch live. No disrespect to any other shows. I just don't bother watching them live, so I can't live tweet it. So, I also try to keep live tweet the Impact WWE and AEW pay-per-views. Is to keep up doing. Is that if you want to watch AEW along with moi, it is on at TNT's Wednesdays at 8. Usually, I admit that this week they have been preempted by NBA playoff basketball, so they are airing on Friday at 10 p.m. on TNT. Hate to see it, but what can you do?
Yeah.
The NBA makes more money. But normally 8 p.m. Eastern on TNT is AEW Dynamite. Now, as for their pay-per-views, you can watch Double or Nothing is their upcoming pay-per-view. It is dropping the day that we drop this episode. So if you're one of those first day listeners and you're like, this pay-per-view sounds interesting, go ahead and you can find it where pay-per-view providers can be found, as well as Fight.tv. It is $50. I'm not going to say that you can't pirate it, but I will not tell you where to find it, because I am against, especially for pay-per-views, especially for pay-per-views, I'll say it like that. I am very much in the mold of supporting the official release.
Yeah.
But what card do we have in store? Well, we have quite a few cards. We shall have I have the wrong card up. I have the 2021 up. I just thought this is weird. So, on the pre-show, that one's free on YouTube, by the way. You will get Serena Deeb versus Riho for the NWA Women's Championship. It's going to be great. Serena Deeb is a technical magician, and Riho is extremely charismatic Japanese star. She's been wrestling since she's 9 years old, guys.
Dude,
and
Riho rules.
and she is amazingly athletic, and it's a very fun match. But on the main pay-per-view card, we have the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, who are basically a bunch of flippity-doos dickheads. They fuck the Young Bucks versus Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. Oh boy, if you like, as David puts it, like as David puts it, if you like brutalizers, holy shit. These guys hit hard. They're competing for the World Tag Team Championships in a tag team match. Then you in a tag team match. It's Sting! He is a WCW legend. He is a face paint daddy with his face paint son, Darby Allin.
Not to be confused with the singer, though.
Yes, not the singer. Totally different. Taking on Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. Just a couple of dudes who are also dicks. The then you have the Stadium Stampede match. That match is going to be a wild match all over the Jacksonville Jaguars football stadium and beyond. It is the Pinnacle, real hardcore old school badasses taking on the Inner Circle, who are kind of newer school badasses in this. They're like a lot of the Pinnacle is like stereotypical 80s wrestlers, and the Inner Circle was like a bunch of 80s rock stars. I think might be the best way I could try to put this without getting into too much character history. But if the Inner Circle loses, they must disband as a team forever.
Oh no.
For the AEW TNT Championship, you have Miro, who is literally like a game. He is a gamer, but at the same time, he's also a complete sociopath.
So a gamer.
Taking on Lance Archer, who is a big old boy whose catchphrase is "Everybody dies."
Oh,
so if that tells you what he's like,
charmer.
Yes. Then in a singles match, you get the anxious millennial cowboy Hangman Adam Page versus Brian Cage. There will be a rage. Brian Cage, he is in fact still a machine, not quite a man. He is the beefiest boy who can also do all the flippity doos.
He real chunk.
Yes. We have the Casino Battle Royale, where the winner, it's a Battle Royal match, where the winner we get a shot at the AEW World Championship. More on that in a minute. We'll not explain all the names. I don't have that kind of time.
Yeah.
Then this match, Cody Rhodes versus Anthony Ogogo. This story could have been about how Anthony Ogogo's mentor betrayed Cody and stole a bunch of his students, but they turned it into America good, anti-America bad. Yuck.
Damn it, Cody. I liked you so much.
Well, look what you did.
Yeah.
Then, for the AEW Women's Championship, you have Hikaru Shida, who is just a straight badass. I don't have any other way to describe it. Against Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. She's a doctor. She is a legitimate dentist. She's earned her doctorate. Respect the title.
Respect the title, boys. Respect it.
And then in the big match for the AEW World Title, a three-way match between Kenny Omega, the belt collector, who has won the AEW title, the AAA title, and the Impact World Championship, and has completely gone insane by his own ego, has completely driven him nuts, taking on Orange Cassidy, the world's laziest wrestler and the best wrestler.
True.
And Pac, who is the bastard, who is kind of like, what if you took Brian Cage, shrunk him down a little bit, but made him a little more flippy, but just as strong and jacked.
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
It is. So running down, it is our last. I wanted to run down the full Double or Nothing card and explain all the matches, considering it's our last show before that one. But yeah, that is what we have upcoming on Twitter.
Outstanding. You can also email us. We are Noobs and Knockouts podcast at gmail.com. The word and this time. Say hi to us. Give us recommendations. Give us suggestions for the show. Whatever you like. Tell us how beautiful, sexy, wonderful our voices are, and how they lull you to sleep every single night with their dulcet tones. All that good stuff. We just love hearing from people. We always enjoy people reaching out to say hi, and we love to say hi back. And finally, you can subscribe to our Patreon. $1 a month gets you early access to episodes and a shout out at the end of each episode.
Yep. See you guys next time.
Hasta luego.